Good morning, you guys. Emily here. I am an unschooling mother of 3, and I'm here for another mom chat. So today we're going to be discussing. First of all, I need to get my hair underway. It is literally 8 in the morning on a Sunday, and I'm getting this out because it's a topic I really want to talk about, and kids are still vibing for the day. So today we're going to be talking about 11 things that I stopped doing when I stepped into unschooling my kids. So here we go. So before we jump in, I'm just going to throw it out there that I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not wrong. I am not perfect because no one is. I'm simply sharing bits of my life in hopes that something might resonate with you. So take what feels right, take what connects, and leave the rest here with me. So when I first stepped into unschooling, I thought it was going to be mostly, about how my kids would learn. I didn't realize how much it was going to change me, my mindset, my pace, my priorities, and my overall joy, you guys. All of that shifted. This has been such a freeing, grounding, beautiful journey for me and my family. And surprisingly, it all started with letting go. Here are 11 things that I stopped doing when I began unschooling. Things that quietly changed everything for me. They changed my life. Number 1, I stopped rushing. Life, I don't think, is meant to feel rushed. And yet that's how I'd been living for years. Like literally, I was a wedding photographer in my 20s. Before that, I was a bartender, and then I was a waitress, and then my first job, McDonald's. Like my entire life was kind of a rush. And when I finally stopped living like that and moved into like more of a slow living way of life, it literally changed everything for me. It was always the next thing. When we started unschooling, I slowly just unsubscribed from this culture of hurrying all the time. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm hurrying. Okay, I got to get this done so I can do the next thing. Okay, I have to get this done so that there is nothing next. You're always rushing to do the next thing. You're never able to relax, and that's not sustainable. So these days, I live a slower life. I strive for slower, a softer rhythm, one that lets all of us, including myself, especially myself, breathe and quite literally stop and smell the flowers. Like if the kids and I are out at a store, we will literally stop and smell the flowers. We will literally stop at parks and smell the flowers. And we have time for that. And it's beautiful. 2, I stopped overscheduling our days. This is something that I feel like a lot of parents do because they want the best for their kids. So they're doing it out of love, and that is so beautiful, but it is not always the way. And 2, when you shift into homeschooling, especially unschooling, you're like, I have to schedule every second because my kids, of course, have to be learning and growing and embracing this and soaking up this knowledge. And we used to literally do that and make sure, okay, this is socialization time, this is library time, this is reading time, she's going to learn science here, blah, 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 blah. Like every single outing, everything had to be productive, like a productive block of time. And now we make one simple plan, like you guys see in the vlog, every single day, and just see where it takes us. It takes us out of the house, and that's usually enough to bring us into something beautiful that was totally spontaneous as long as we get out of the house that one time. It is so much lighter for us this way. We can linger where it feels good. We can leave and do something else if it's super lame. We can say yes to spontaneous fun by ourselves or with friends and actually be living in the moment. And it is so beautiful. And we all know, those people who are like, we have to just go off to, soccer. Oh, we have to move this. And it's always a rush. And that really works for some people and it stimulates them in all the right ways. For us, it did not. It just led to overwhelm. And at the end of the week, at the end of the day, we were just exhausted and just like, this can't be life. The next thing I stopped doing is waking up with my kids. I used to wake up at the same time as my children. And like I instantly felt behind. I instantly felt overstimulated, uncentered, like not me. Now I wake up 1 to 2 hours earlier and it is quiet. It's peaceful. It's sacred. It's my sacred morning time. It just centers who I am, my beliefs, my morals. I journal. I mean, like, I get to be who I am and then start mothering for the day. I sip my coffee slowly. I work out. I stretch. I take my morning hike. I read. I write my gratitude list. I meditate. I breathe without someone talking in my ear. And by the time the kids wake up, I'm already grounded and back to me. It's like literally grabbing the reins back on life. I remember when I used to just wake up when my body woke me up, which was with the kids. I would literally feel like my life is totally out of control. And the week/month that I started waking up first before my kids, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, it feels like I have control over my life again. This is amazing. Number 4, putting myself last. I stopped putting myself last. For so long, I thought that being a good mom. So in my 20s, I had Addison in my early 20s. So I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And I was still living my life. And I was a pretty selfish early mom to one. I had a super supportive family that was so helpful, but I really did get to live my life. And then I shifted into like motherhood of more. And I thought being a good mom meant putting everything to the side, and, doing the things for them first. But now I fill my cup first after having, selfish motherhood, learning from that, being a selfless mother. I've always been able to balance it pretty well, but there was a moment where I was like, them first, them first, them first. Now I fill my cup first intentionally with the things that bring me immense joy, because when I am full, patient, and joyful, I can show up as the mom that they deserve. And honestly, we all thrive from it. If I don't fill up my cup that week or that day, it shows, and I feel a tense feeling. And I know, okay. And I even tell them, I need to make space for me tonight. I need to make space for me this weekend. Okay. Number 5, I stopped short form social media. I stopped that about probably the time that I got pregnant for Alana, around there. I stopped, I never had TikTok really. Way back when it first was like the talk of the town, I had it for like a summer, and it was just a fun little summer. And then I was like, this is a waste of my time. I was super into Instagram because I was a professional photographer for my entire 20s, and I used that for my marketing and connection with my clients. I think that's the only short form I used to have. So this one was huge for me. It was more when I stepped into minimalism and slow living and taking back my life and existing in my actual life. The endless scroll, the comparison, the hours lost of my actual life, just watching strangers live theirs while mine just quietly passed by. Like, oh my gosh, it's already 5. Like that feeling. And you just feel like, oh, you're just comparing yourself to these people that you don't have anything in common with. So I chose to step away from that, and it has been so freeing. And now I get to live my life, not watch someone else's from my phone. Not to mention, people with dopamine addictions, and I won't even get into that. That's a whole rant I often tell the people I love in my life. But like, for instance, you walk into a coffee shop and it's like everyone is just charging. Like, people are literally looking down, like zombified like this. And it looks like humans are, like, the human race is charging. Oh my gosh, you guys, my hair is out of control. But mother of 3, I just woke up, poured coffee, and came right out here. So this is just real life right now. I'm not going to apologize for it. But yeah, I stepped away from that and not needing to document every little tiny thing in my life. 6, feeling pressured by society in any way at all. That's part of slow living and kind of taking a more radical approach on life, is just not giving up what society thinks or has to say or wants me to do. The moment that I stopped caring what whoever they is, thinks, the invisible they, everything got so simple in my life. My energy came back. My confidence grew. I just decided I don't have to subscribe to someone else's idea of success. Like, what do I want? What are my morals? What are my values? And that's what I want to build around, not the other way around, not what everyone else is doing. 7, we stopped staying home all week. You know, when you're like, oh, a stay-at-home mom or a homeschooling mom, for a while I thought that home was where we had to be to homeschool. But then that got lonely and stale so quickly, you guys. Now we leave every single morning. Once in a while, we'll stay home and just have a cozy thunderstorm day, but not for errands, but for connection. Friends, parks, nature trails, coffee shops, museums, meeting new people, community. The world is our classroom, and getting out of the house every single day just makes me feel like a human, like a part of society, like a real human existing in this real world. Not coming from only a place of homeschooling and being a stay-at-home mom for the time being, but entrepreneurship. You know, after I left bartending in my early 20s and pursued running a business, I was running a creative business. So I was a full-time wedding photographer. And so besides the weekends when I would go out and photograph my couples, or I don't want to get flagged, or photograph a wedding, I would see people for a chunk of time and then never see them again, never have to see them again. And then go to like coffee shops and be working when everybody else my age was like working, and just felt like a retired lady. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of lonely. So I had to make a point to go out into the community and like be a part of society. Okay, 8, I stopped talking about my kids and to my kids like they're a burden. This one hit me so hard. The moment that I chose to unschool my kids, I was choosing my kids. I was choosing to make them a priority. I wanted my words and the way I act to reflect that. Like, I'm not perfect. Sometimes once in a while I'll lash out on my kids if I'm having a bad day, and then we'll talk about it. Sometimes I'll have a venting session with another mom. That's not the same as pouring a glass of wine with your, mom friends and just straight talking crap about your kids. I think that's so crazy and so disrespectful to your literal best friends that you created, because they're not my burden. They are my purpose right now. They are my job right now. It's my most important job, arguably. And this is the project that I'm doing, my biggest project with my favorite people. And that's kind of how I think of it, you know? So, like, I ran a business my 20s, my 30s, and early 40s. It will be raising my babies. And that's just a small chunk of time. That's a decade and a half. And then I can do whatever else I want. It's not a burden. It's not the end. It's not like a sentence. It is just a beautiful project. And yes, you can work with it. I spent the first decade of motherhood working around my child and my second child for the second half of my 20s, just working at nights and working on the weekends when someone else could hang tight with them while I was doing my passion work. Number 9, stressing over learning. Are they learning? I stopped doing that. This was about like last year, maybe a year and a half ago, that I fully stepped into unschooling, and I just got to relax. I noticed that homeschooling with curriculum was not working. It was making it was making Addison literally hate learning. And if we picked up a book on a Sunday morning, she was like, no, it's not school time. It's the weekend. What are you doing? Now stepping into unschooling, she's literally reading and writing and doing school type work Sunday mornings, Friday nights with her friends out on play dates, like, because it's not school. It's just life. And she's just learning all the time. And once I really leaned into this trust, everything just softened for my whole family and for me as a mother. Kids do learn deeply, naturally, joyfully when they feel safe and free. And this is tried and true. This is statistically proven. This is science backed, and I could go on and on and on. And I remind myself often that there are entire generations of unschoolers out there thriving. So it works. And sometimes I have to pull back when I don't see it unfolding in front of me for like a week. If like my daughter's going through some sort of like growth where it's like a silent growth where she's processing and growing in that way and things just feel like they're going behind, I go online and I research grown unschoolers literally because that saves me. That is community. That is proof that this thing works. Okay, so number 10, people pleasing. I stopped saying yes when I really meant no. And now I like think of something and I really stop and I wait and I breathe into it. And I'm like, we're not available for that, or we're going to pass. I have a really good friend in my close circle, and she's one of my best friends. She is so good and powerful and inspiring with her boundaries. And I've kind of been inspired to take some of that from her and really step into boundaries and see how she kind of does it and learn from that. And it's been a beautiful process for me. It's been such an asset in my life to have her inspire me in that way. And I stopped hosting you know, if it wasn't a heck yes. I stopped cleaning for guests like I was auditioning for some home like making award. And the more that I trust myself, the more peace I find and the more intuition I find, and it's beautiful. In the last one here, you guys, 11, is waiting for someday to be me again. And I touched on this a little bit ago, but for so long, I thought that like when this season's over, I can like do my thing again. I can get back into this. I can get back into solo travel. But here's the thing. This is my life right now. Like this is my life. And it's not like the kids are going to grow up and I'm just not going to have kids anymore. They're going to be my kids in a different way. And I'm going to have to cultivate that in a different, more beautiful way. So I stopped finally waiting. And I now make time for my hobbies. I make time for my workout. I make time for my joy and my me time, because for a while I'm like, all right, when she's like this age or when this one's this age, or I can get back into this, and this, because life isn't on pause for me and it's happening right now in real time. And when you step back into that, you get back into flow and feeling your best. And I remember when Lane was a baby and her whole pregnancy, I was like, oh my gosh, this again, like, let's just wait it out and then I can get back into my flow. And that's just not how it works. So that is that. Some final thoughts, you guys. Unschooling for me has been less about education and more about liberation for not only my kids, but for me, from pressures, from comparisons, from the noise. It's a way of choosing peace, curiosity, and connection over control. If you're somewhere on this journey too, I see you. I got you. It's brave, it's messy, it's magical, all in the same crazy bundle of life. So take what resonates, leave leave the rest with me, and remember you are doing so beautifully right where you are right now. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully this resonated or connected in some way with you, and I will see you for the next Mom Chat next week. Have a beautiful week.